What's up? It's your boy, it's your man, it's your dude, Harry Lately, back with another episode of the Never Late Show. And today we have a real treat. I'm here with Chris King of Club NFT. And I don't want to spoil, all the goodness. So I would love for you to tell folks who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. I'm Chris King, the CTO and co-founder, alongside Jason Bailey, better known as Art Gnome. We started Club NFT a little over a year ago to help protect, inform, and guide NFT collectors.
Yeah, and with that said, there's some very significant underlying problems with collecting NFTs that many collectors, may not be aware of. And I'd like to clarify, a few things for the audience. First of which, can you educate us on how NFTs are minted and how they're stored?
Yeah, so, a lot of people assume that NFTs and the blockchain are just magical things and everything just automatically works and it'll continue working forever. But it's actually pretty complicated. And, there are some issues that we've identified that we really want to address to keep collectors safe. So when an artist goes and mints an NFT, they actually upload these files to some marketplace or, something like manifold.xyz, somewhere where there's a smart contract and an infrastructure to deal with the image that they're uploading. When you upload and mint this NFT, the file, the JPEG or the video or the sound file, whatever it is, that actually usually doesn't get stored on the blockchain. Actually, it's less than 10% of all NFTs have all of their assets and metadata stored on the blockchain. The vast majority are either stored on web servers somewhere, abc.com, or on IPFS, which is the Interplanetary File System. There are a lot of ways that you can store these media files. People don't actually use the blockchain to store the media files because storage on the blockchain is really, really expensive. It would be tens of thousands of dollars in gas fees just to store, a single JPEG. So when you mint it, usually the marketplace is actually uploading that file either to their own web servers or to IPFS. If they use IPFS, then maybe they're running their own IPFS cluster, or they're using a third-party service like Pinata or Infura.
Okay. So now that we understand that NFTs themselves aren't stored on the blockchain, can you speak to some of the issues that can arise as a result? Notably, can you speak about how dependent collectors are on exchanges?
Yeah, so when the file is uploaded to the marketplace, it's the marketplace who is actually storing that image somewhere. And it's either, on their own web servers or it's on IPFS. So if it's on their own web servers, that means that that NFT has been minted. The token that lives on the blockchain has a URL and it's pointing to this marketplace's own web servers. If that marketplace goes out of business or they have a technical issue or any of a number of things happen, that file can disappear. And now the NFT, the token itself, which does live on the blockchain, has a pointer to an image that no longer exists. Or, if the marketplace is using their own web servers for this thing, say it's pointing to, a picture of a rose, right? It's abc.com/rose.jpg. The marketplace, for whatever reason, maybe they get hacked, that rose.jpg could be replaced with a picture of anything else or nothing else. That means that the NFT is kind of not permanent. On the other hand, the marketplace might actually be doing what we think is a best practice and uploading the file that you mint directly to IPFS. But like I mentioned earlier, IPFS isn't some magical thing. That file still lives on somebody's hard drive somewhere. Maybe the cluster being run by the marketplace or Infura or Pinata, but usually it's actually one place, like one hard drive. That's good because IPFS ensures that somebody can't just go in and change the picture that you bought, but it doesn't guarantee that if that hard drive dies, that picture will still be available. So really, unless an NFT collector is buying IPFS based NFTs, and then doing the extra step of backing up all of the files associated with that NFT themselves, they're really dependent on the marketplace. The marketplace and the artist and any other third parties like Infura or Pinata. And in the blockchain world, we really think that people should be taking responsibility for their own protection and not relying on these third parties. Because, as you can see, the cryptocurrency market is going down. It seems like some sales of NFTs are maybe starting to slow down. If marketplaces start going out of business, people are going to be reminded and woken up really, unfortunately, about the dependency they have on that marketplace. If that marketplace goes out of business, it could be a bad day for their NFT collection.
For sure. No, 100%. And beyond exchanges, I mean, and you just touched on this in terms of altering the NFT. Beyond exchanges, artists also play a big role in maintaining the integrity of the NFT, and they too can also put collectors at risk. So, can you speak to the idea of freezing NFTs and how important that is?
Yeah, so a lot of folks forget about the storage issue and where these files are stored. A lot of folks assume that at least the metadata associated with an NFT is immutable, which means it can't be changed. If I buy an NFT and it's a picture of a rose and it says the title is Rose and the description is a beautiful rose, people assume that that can't change. And actually, that's not always the case. So anytime you see an NFT with like a release mechanic where people are buying the NFT and it has kind of a placeholder image, and then after the reveal, you see what the image actually is going to be, that kind of hints at the fact that the NFT can actually be modified, can be modified by the artist or potentially by the marketplace themselves. The way this works is the smart contract that was used to create that NFT allows for modifications and edits. There's some good utility there. A lot of artists want to be able to use release mechanics. Some NFTs, artists are, really creative people. They want to sell an NFT that they are going to manually change every month or every day or something, changing over time. That's a really cool use for the modifiability of NFTs. But when a collector, goes into NFT collecting, assuming that what they buy is going to be the same thing for all time, this really goes against that whole idea. So for example, on OpenSea, the default mint options allow the artist to modify the NFT. It's called an unfrozen NFT. And really, nicely right there on the NFT page, OpenSea gives the artist the ability to freeze that NFT. If they freeze the NFT, then no further edits can be made. And OpenSea by default, when it's still modifiable, stores all of the image assets on their own web servers instead of on IPFS. But when you click freeze, they transfer everything over to IPFS. So after the NFT has been frozen, that NFT can't be changed by anybody, which is great. The problem is so few people know about this. In fact, so few artists even really know about this that, based on data that we've collected and analyzed, it looks like 98.4% approximately of all of OpenSea's NFTs are unfrozen.
Oh, wow.
That means still modifiable by the artist.
Wow.
And I don't think a lot of folks, realize this. There are other marketplaces that allow this, but we think that freezing the metadata is a really important thing that artists should do when they're done modifying and editing the NFT, just to put the collector, kind of at ease.
Yeah, man, you paint a very alarming picture for collectors. But this is a very needed conversation that we're having today. And now that we've identified a number of issues facing collectors, I'd like to get into your company, how it got started, and essentially how you're helping collectors address their backup needs.
Yeah, totally. So about 2017, my co-founder, Jason Bailey, AKA Art Gnome, he was starting to collect NFTs. He was one of the very first people in the space. He wrote a bunch of blog posts. And back then, you know, the NFTs, it was just kind of a small community. People were just kind of like playing around. People were buying and selling NFTs for a couple dollars here and there. And at that time, Jason actually ended up being Xcopy's first collector. He bought a bunch
Oh
of
wow.
Xcopy's NFTs. You know, now we see that Xcopy's NFTs are selling for millions of dollars, and having some of the very first NFTs from Xcopy, those should also be worth quite a bit of money, right?
Yeah.
But an interesting thing happened in 2018. A lot of marketplaces went out of business, including the one that Jason collected Xcopy's NFTs on. And
Okay.
because of this problem, all of those NFTs are gone and not recoverable anymore. So, you know, it's been 4 or 5 years since all this stuff happened, and there are still no like really good solutions. But more than that, there's not a really like broad understanding of these issues in the community. Jason, you know, knew something happened to his NFT. He wasn't exactly sure why, and he wasn't exactly sure what. It wasn't until we started digging into it together about a year ago that we identified a lot of these problems and realized, you know, there's some actually pretty like simple ways to start fixing some of these problems that are threatening collectors, that don't require us to build a brand new blockchain, don't require us to charge people, you know, $1 million or even $1 to use the tool. So we've been building these free tools to try to protect collectors. The first one that we have been released as a beta, and a nice web UI version of it will be coming out in the following weeks, is based on backing up your IPFS data. But another thing is just dealing with the educational aspect of all this.
And that sounds like a real Herculean effort in terms of taking on so many layers, from the backup to the education piece to and not even just that, just the ideation to actual execution of it, you know, and it sounds like it takes a number of truly talented individuals to pull that together. So maybe you can tell me more about the team and how it all comes together.
Sure. So sometime around NFT NYC last year, which I think was in October, we thought we were about a few days away from being able to launch this initial IPFS backup tool. That was pretty naive. Clearly, we were over, you know, half a year wrong about how long it would take to get a backup tool actually ready for real public use that would actually work for, you know, 100% of cases in a bunch of different blockchains and marketplaces. So, you know, Jason and I were working on this together early on, but it became clear that we actually needed to bring on a lot of folks, you know, much smarter than me and him to help us build out all these tools. So, you know, we've been incredibly lucky. We brought on Matt Bailey, who's our VP of engineering. He's a super smart guy and is able to take kind of our vague ideas about, oh, it should do this, it should do that, figure out exactly what needs to be built and when. We got Mark Davis, who's our VP of product. And basically he came from Yahoo Search as a product manager. Brilliant guy. He's been helping us to get into a rhythm of our agile process and actually delivering products for our users. And beyond them, we've got, you know, our engineering team has grown. I think we have 6 or 7 engineers at the moment. We just recently got Dat CSV, who is really big in the Tezos community. He built the Tez tax software, which just a few weeks ago was a really big deal for a lot of folks trying to do their taxes. And we've got, you know, people kind of all over the world, actually, a bunch of different countries. We're really remote only. So we actually have a guy who's working for us. He's been with us for months now. He's driving all around the US, visiting all the national parks, and working on his laptop in his car. So we have people pretty much everywhere. And, you know, the team we've been able to put together is amazing. We're so grateful for all the folks on our team. Beyond the engineering side, though, Club NFT just launched Right Click Save, our web application, our web magazine for NFTs and art, a few months ago, and already with the guidance of Alex Esterick, that's become one of the most respected publications in the NFT space. So incredibly proud of the work he's been doing, and we've got a bunch of great folks on the marketing and business side as well.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I've had nothing but, you know, great experiences and encounters with, you know, your team. Just being helpful from answering responses that I've had, inquiries that I've had. You know, my own kind of experience with the beta product. Just everything all around. Like, kudos to your team because it definitely has been, you know, an exceptional experience. Um, so let's say I'm a viewer right now and I love everything that you're talking about. And you know, I want to learn more. You know, it's time to get educated. You've piqued my interest. Like, how is your team addressing this? You know, I hear that you guys have a bunch of new content in the works. So maybe you can, you know, tell the viewers about, you know, how they can to learn more about, you know, NFT backup.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we can build a bunch of tools, and a lot of folks are working on improving tools to keep people safe. But the key to all of this is education and getting people to just understand what the issues are, whether it's, you know, how to deal with backing up your NFTs, or, you know, what kind of wallet should you be using? Should you use a hot wallet and a cold wallet? Should you be aware of certain types of scams, and how do you avoid them? This whole gamut of problems that, you know, collectors are, you know, always facing every day. You're always reading stories about people getting snagged one way or another, and nobody's really confident that they have the answers. So we're putting together an educational course, based on video and a few other pieces of media that will really walk users, collectors, through the entire collecting process, from setting up a wallet all the way through to, you know, setting up a will for your loved ones in case something should happen to you. Like, you
Wow.
know, my co-founder, his wife is a big fan of all the work he's doing, but she doesn't know anything about NFTs. If something
Yeah.
happened to him, what's she going to do with all these things? They're potentially worth millions of dollars, but she doesn't even know how to access them. So
Yeah.
everything really cradle to grave. We're going to walk you through it as simple as possible and just tell you, like, here's what you got to do to be safe. It's not going to cover everything, but it's going to cover, you know, 99% of the issues that really strike people, just to try to keep it brief and easy and accessible.
Yeah, no, that sounds, you know, like a wonderful, you know, platform for folks like myself who are still kind of climbing that, like, that learning curve. You know what I mean? Because obviously, like, I understand, you know, certain pieces, bits and pieces, but I'm always learning, and I'm sure that again, there's a bunch of us who are in some stage of that development process. So it's wonderful to have that resource, that repository, you know, coming soon. So, you know, for those who'd like to just stay abreast of not only just the learning library that you guys are working on, but just stay abreast of what Club NFT is doing, new product releases, updates, upgrades, all of that good stuff. How do they stay in the loop? How do they find you, and how do they find the company?
Yeah, so the best place to find all of us is Twitter. So the company is club underscore NFT. You probably want to check out our magazine, which is really fantastic if you're at all interested in reading about some art literature and so forth. That's RT underscore click save. But we have website, you know, clubnft.com and rightclicksave.com. Go there, you can join our beta, you can sign up for the RCS newsletter, and follow all of us. You know, all of our Twitter handles are available, and we tend to make all of our announcements on Twitter. We have a Discord. You'll find Discord invite links there as well.
Cool. Well, viewers, I mean, this has been a real treat. Like, this is one of the cream of the crop in the NFT space. Definitely trying to protect you and I from all the pitfalls of, you know, NFT, you know, lack of actual backups, because as you can see from this conversation, this is a super huge issue facing all collectors, flippers. I mean, whatever you call yourself, investors. You know, if you care about your collection, you definitely want to check out what Chris and team is doing, because it is it is of utmost significance and priority that you back up your NFTs. So, guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, Chris, for joining us. This has been the Never Late Show, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thanks,
Peace.
Harry.